Okay, we are going to discuss today an exercise that I did when I was in college on how to improve my tone quality. I had been going through auditions for the ensembles at the university, and I always felt like I played the excerpts well, and I had good range, I had good endurance. But I still wasn't landing first chair. And so I went to my professors and I said, why did I not get first chair? Because, we'd all hang outside the audition rooms, we'd listen to each other, and, we'd kind of keep a tally of mistakes. And it wasn't that I was being egotistical and thinking that I deserved first chair. I just legitimately wanted to know, why was I placing third or fourth chair, so that I could improve on whatever it was that they didn't like. And, it turned out that they didn't like my sound. They didn't like my tone quality. So I made it my mission that by the next round of auditions, I was going to improve that tone quality. And so I did one thing and one thing only. Well, maybe not one thing only, but I did one primary thing, which was I spent 20 minutes a day playing what I call a whisper tone. And of course, later on, I discovered that this wasn't something that I created. This was something that many trumpet players over the time have done this technique. I just happened to cross it by accident in my own experimentation. And I think one of the most famous players that we've all heard about that used this whisper tone technique was Cat Anderson. And so basically what I would do is I would spend 20 minutes a day playing as softly as I could on one note. And I think at the time I did it on like an E or an F, but most people do it on a G, so I'll do a G today. So there's a couple ways you can approach this. One, if you've not practiced playing softly or down to a whisper, most likely you're going to start and you're going to get to a certain point to where your lips don't vibrate anymore and it's just air. So you could do where you start normal and you're going to decrescendo to the point to where it doesn't sound anymore. And you want to take it all the way down to whatever the softest you can get it. And if you're new to this, what's going to happen is you'll start decrescendoing and you'll get to the point to where it's just air and there's no more vibration and it just kind of like cuts off. So what I recommend that you do is at that point, do it several times. Start at a mezzo piano, mezzo forte, whatever's comfortable, decrescendo down until you get to the point to where it stops. Do that several times so that you can pretty much pinpoint at what point is the sound going to stop, so that once you learn where that spot is, take it down, and whatever the softest you can play without it stopping the sound is where you're going to hold it. And you're going to hold it as long as you can with a nice relaxed breath. When you need to breathe, take the horn off the face, take a nice breath, and do it again. Same approach. Maybe start a little softer this time, and so you don't have as far to decrescendo, until eventually you can get it to where you can start at that dynamic. Okay, so the goal is to get it as soft as you can, all the way down to a whisper volume. Okay. And you're going to hold it there as soft as you can, kind of focusing on, do I have a relaxed breath? Is my throat nice and open? There's no tension in the face, so that I can project, this super soft sound with the most relaxed way possible. And if you can get it really soft, which I haven't warmed up today because I wanted to do this video cold, straight off This is what it this is what happens without warming up before this, because this is a great exercise to use as a warm up. Obviously, when I was in college and I was doing this in the middle of the day, so everything was nice and warm and ready, so I could really focus on an efficient embouchure, which is part of how you get to this result. So it's creating an efficiency. I call it an air to buzz efficiency. So if my air is going through and it's the least amount possible to get the least amount of buzz possible, and if all of that works right, then the sound is going to happen. And then to get a louder volume, all you do is just use more air. Just push more air through, and that volume's going to get bigger, and you're going to have a lot of tone and sound, and not so much air and fuzz in the sound. And it'll be a nice open big sound. Here's the other approach. Start from the other direction. So instead of starting from a medium volume, you're going to start from just air and blow the air through until the buzz catches itself. And this was a method that Rafael Mendez used as part of his warm-up. This is what he would do for his first thing every day. He would just pick the horn up and he'd blow air. And he would do this for several minutes until eventually the buzz caught and sound was produced. Okay, so this way he wasn't forcing the sound. He was letting it happen on its own and on its own time. So depending on how your lips are feeling and how your air is working that day, and how hydrated you are, it can all affect how quick is this going to respond. So we start with just air through there, and we keep that air going, and we allow this to catch the buzz. And what might happen, if you're new to it, is when it catches, it might be kind of a loud, abrupt sound. And that's okay. And then you can bring it back down. But what we want to aim for is to keep it nice and soft. And when it catches, it's just at a whisper. Okay, so for me, I'm still trying to get things working today. So what's happening is that it's catching, and then it's going away, and it's catching and it's going away, or maybe it has an influx at one point. So, my air support is not completely solid yet for the day, so that needs to warm up. That I need to, gain control of that. This isn't fully ready to respond yet, so it's kind of hit or miss. But as you go through this process, and like I said, I did this for 20 minutes a day, it's a really easy, relaxing way to get all of this here and your air in your belly and everything. Just a nice way of playing a relaxed sound. And you're going to get a few things, benefits out of this. One, you're going to get a very efficient setup, so that you don't have to rely on any pressure. Pressure meaning like forcing the horn into your face in order to get a sound. It's all going to come from the air and the lips, so all of that's going to work together in an efficient manner. So you'll be able to play more efficiently, which means better endurance, which we all want better endurance. It's also going to increase your tone quality, so you're going to play with a broader, more full sound, and it's not going to be so thin and unsupported. It's also going to help with range, because there's one thing here, and I know it sounds a little silly to say it's going to help with range, but what's happening is when you play super soft, this hole, and I'll show you with this. Okay. So, well, let me get it to where you can see. Okay, so when I play really softly, the hole is really small, the aperture, but if I put a lot of air through there, like loud, the hole and the aperture really opens up bigger. So a lot of times playing high, if we play too loud, our aperture is too big and we can't produce, the fast vibrations that we need. And so when we play soft, it's going to make this aperture really small and efficient, and that's going to help us as we ascend into the upper register, having that smaller aperture. And I know some people are going to say that's not true. You're just talking out of your butt, whatever. But there is something there to it, because as I worked on this soft, efficient playing, it did help my upper register, and I think that it's due to that. The other thing is it's going to make your louds much louder, and it's going to make your ability to control your soft playing a whole lot easier. So basically, your dynamic contrast, your dynamic control, you may go from having, this much range to this. So as you expand that low, soft playing, it's going to increase your loud playing too, because then every bit of extra air that you put through to get volume is going to be that much more useful, because that efficiency is working better. You're not losing as much energy or as much buzz with that air. So I hope all this makes sense. So again, you can call it what you want. I call it a whisper tone exercise. You can call it the whisper G. You can call it whatever. But I promise you that if you want to build your tone up better, if you want to work on some endurance, or an easy exercise to help work on some range stuff, as simple as this is, it has a positive effect in all of those areas. So just spend some time, work on that soft playing, and hold it as long as you can. Okay, thank you guys. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll see if I can answer them. If you have any suggestions of other videos that you would like me to make, drop those in there and I'll see what I can do. Thank you guys.